The views and opinions expressed by John and DJ do not reflect those of any intelligent or rational human being and are solely the property of the Brightside Chat.
This show is a proud member of the Nerdy Legion Podcast Network. Get more at nerdylegion.com. Enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Brightside, and issue number 171. Come on, John, let me get through it. I just said we're all warmed up.
Yeah.
We aren't. Still a bit. Oh, man. I'm all out of sorts, John. We're doing 2 podcasts at once at night and here. And
I know.
It's like, I don't know if I'm coming or going. I'm like, well, this is the chat one, right? Not the home theater?
This is the chat one.
Okay,
yes.
we just thank you for bailing me out on the home theater one.
No
Talk
problem.
more about that in a little bit. We got so much to get to. Let's elephant in the room, the Batman. You saw that,
Yep.
right?
I did see that.
We're gonna have lots to say about that. It's both spoiler free, and we are back with a Kryptonite. How long's it been since we did a Kryptonite?
Oh, Spider-Man?
Yeah. Well, we haven't had a need to, really.
No.
I mean, because well, we'll get into it in the store. But yeah, we got Kryptonite at the end for the Batman. Can't wait to get into that with you. We already did get into it, but it's always worth revisiting. So, all right, let's not mess around. Let's get into the store.
All right.
I don't know. I do. I feel relaxed. How you doing, John?
I'm good.
I hear that bell and my life just goes, I get to hang out with John and talk comics for 2, 3, I don't know, hours. Just, it's fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, we had a great conversation with BJ the other day. We'll talk about that when we get to mailbag.
Right.
But before that, how's your week going? How's the store doing?
Going pretty good. It's cold again.
It's cold?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
it's got to be like, what,
for us.
62?
No, it's in the 40s.
40s. Yeah, that's
But,
not good.
I mean, I had shorts on Sunday. Monday morning, I had to put pants on in a jacket.
Oh, yeah, we know how we know how you don't like to put on pants.
I don't like to put on pants at all, but
Yeah.
you know.
40. Yeah, we're supposed to get 1 to 3 inches tomorrow. It was 60 yesterday, 1 to 3 inches tomorrow
Wow.
up here. So, yeah, we just
That's
that's New England though. For some reason up here we just can't let go of the winter. It kicks and screams all the way into May sometimes.
Yep.
And we just get snow after, and you'd be like, "Oh, it's beautiful," like you said, shorts one day and then I got to go shovel. So,
Yep.
Oh well. So,
Oh well.
how's the store doing, though? The cold didn't affect the store, right? People still go out in Texas when it's 40?
They do. I had ups and downs. I had a really bad Saturday for some reason. I'm not sure what was going on then. Especially being the Batman weekend and the fact that I'm right next to a movie theater. I didn't expect to have a bad Saturday, but Sunday was good, and today was all right. So, guess can't complain.
Can't complain. But this is the place to do it, John, because we're the only ones that'll listen to you.
That's right.
We have a captive audience. They have the
It's
podcast
recorded,
on.
Yep.
Exactly. So complain all you
Recorded
want.
for posterity.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the only place that it is allowed and that will listen to you. All right. You ready to get to some mailbag then?
Sure.
I got to pull it up here. Let me see. Where's the mailbag? Find out our mailbag. Why aren't we hearing it? There it is.
There it is.
We're still
Take
hearing
that
background noises. We're cooking along so well here.
down. I know. I still got all these customers in the store.
I know. Customers are in the store. We're breaking out mailbag. Oh, all right. First one up here. We got Theo on YouTube, I believe this message came in. It says, I loved every second of you two guys during the show. Very funny, great information. I enjoyed thoroughly. Thanks again. Damn. So
Awesome. That was last week's show?
I know.
Because that wasn't a great show.
What makes you say that, John?
I was scared to listen back to that show, to be honest with you.
Why?
Full disclosure, DJ, you don't know this, but I was somewhat impaired during the recording of last week's
I
show.
do know that. You didn't tell me. But I could tell as the show was going along, I'm like,
as it went along,
this is
when we
not
got to
John's?
checkout,
Yeah,
I was like,
checked out.
I don't even know what I said.
Yeah.
And I was scared to listen back to it.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, there was
It
nothing.
wasn't actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but when I was actually doing the show, I struggled to put thoughts together, and I really wasn't sure what I was saying. So, if that show was great and enjoyable, then hurrah!
No, I did notice you didn't have your same energy.
Yeah,
Let's just say that. It's like you didn't have your same enthusiasm for stuff. And I was like,
a friend brought me back some special chocolate from Colorado that I tried before the show, and
nice.
And she told me 1 square is sufficient, and I opened it and said, "This is really small. I probably should have 2 squares."
Oh no.
And yeah, so
good for you.
Anyway. So that was what was going on last week, for those that might have been wondering.
Yeah. Let's just say we've been doing this long enough. I noticed.
Yeah,
I noticed.
Figured you did.
As the show was going along, I was like, wow, okay.
You
all
can
right.
sort of pinpoint when it started to take effect.
They can't all be gems.
They cannot.
But that's what makes that one a gem, John. There you go.
Right.
There you go. Next up. All right, yeah, let's BJ. Great conversation. Brad is his name. Brad Horton. Yeah. Did you get to hear it at all? It came out this morning as we're recording.
I haven't. No,
yesterday,
I haven't heard it. Yeah.
On Home Theater. Great conversation with him over on Home Theater, but then I decided I was going to bring it up here because we talked for a little while after we were done recording. We recorded for over 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours. On Home Theater, and just talking Home Theater. And then we talked for probably about a half hour after that, just the two of us. And I just wanted to pass along the message to you, John, that he really likes you. And he
yeah, no, you texted me that, and I was like, "We got one."
Yeah, exactly. No, he does. He's like, he just seems like such a good dude. I go, yeah, he does seem that way, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's a facade.
Yeah, he's so good at acting.
It's my show persona.
Yeah, and no, he really does. He really likes you. He really likes what we do here. He thanked me a bunch of times. I mean, for chat, and he's like, he drives a truck for a living, so he's out like in his truck 8 hours a day by himself, similar to me, all alone. Yeah. And he's like, he goes, I love listening to you guys, the band. He goes, I laugh when you laugh. I do all those things. He goes, I'm like yelling and I'm like laughing at the radio. I'm laughing at you guys. I'm like, and he's doing all of these mannerisms. And I'm like, I think we might have to cancel the show, John, because we might be a driving hazard.
Maybe.
Because I'm like, he's driving a big rig, and he's like, hey, he's got arms waving in the air, he's yelling at us, he's laughing with us. I'm like, oh no! I'm like, Your Honor, we didn't mean to be so entertaining.
Yeah.
That's
our curse.
That's our crime, John. That's our crime. But yeah,
it's our cross to bear.
Yeah. So it was really, and that's why I wanted to talk to you here about it, is it really was, like I told you when I texted you, I'm like, he really likes you. He really likes it. But listening to him, it's hard here. I mean, he doesn't really say it much in the Home Theater podcast, but it just means a lot when listeners are like that. Like, I really like what you do and this and that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
It's surprising.
Otherwise, why do it?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I mean, if nobody likes us, then we should stop.
Well, and it's funny you said, like, why do it? And we always said, like, when we first started, we would do this if nobody's listening. Because...
Well, right, but we would just stop recording it and just have the conversations.
Right. But like I said to him, I go, what's great is, I said, I get to sit down every week and talk to you and talk with one of my best friends about the stuff that nobody else will talk to us about, right? And it's
Right.
like, and that's where we came up with the comic book store conversation part. But it was like, now we've been doing this for like 3 years and over 3 years, and you're just like, if we didn't have this show, we wouldn't talk this much. You know, it's like,
We might not. We'd still probably. I mean, we don't talk throughout the week
because of it.
physically, but I mean, we
Right.
text every day.
Right.
You know, multiple times a day. So we might still do that, but
this is
but
an
yeah,
appointment.
the
like we
conversation.
have to do
Yeah.
it, and we feel, but we get to record. And he's like, "That's what's great." Is he goes, "You record it and let us sit in on it and enjoy, you know,
Right.
and be part of it." And it's like hearing him say that. It's just you're just like, we just thought we were screwing around. It's like, and when you hear somebody
Still.
like, I know we still are. Let's be honest, but when you hear somebody say that, it kind of hits you, and you're like, "Oh, okay." I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, now,
There is zero professionalism going on here.
oh
so-
yeah, yeah. Hashtag last week's show.
Yes.
Oh, and
I
so
wasn't quite prepared for how that was going to happen. But
I could have guessed.
yeah.
Oh,
One square would have been enough.
one square. Yeah.
Can you spare a square?
Not
Can't
anymore.
spare a square.
Not anymore.
Lane.
How many squares do you have left now? Are they all gone?
No, they're not all gone, but I've got a few.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Next up, we have Carl. But thanks, BJ.
Yeah, thank
Really
you. I appreciate
that.
it too.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you enjoy it.
Yeah, and don't be shy. That was the other thing he said. He doesn't want to keep giving comments all the time because he doesn't want to commandeer the show. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's like,
I mean, I'm looking for my weekly BJ, so if I don't get it, I'm really unhappy. So
exactly. We're trying to get to 4. Got to get to 4.
it's exactly. I'm really, really unhappy. So
Yeah, there you go. So
no, keep it coming.
the more comments, anything you have to say, it just brings fodder to the show, and we'll talk about it. Because you never know what's going to spark off a fun conversation. I mean, that's the thing.
'cause
That's what's so great about
Yeah,
it.
there's so many things that we go off on that we're not planned.
Right. I mean, God forbid you mention Star Wars.
Yeah.
Anything.
It's like that meme with the guy that I'm sure you've seen the meme where he's like, my friend asked me one question about Star Wars, and then he's got like the big chart, and he's like,
Right.
3 hours later.
3 hours later,
That's us.
I still haven't answered the question, but we had a great conversation.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all right, let's keep focused, DJ. Focus. All right. Carl, another one on YouTube. Loved every second of watching and listening to that Dolby Atmos Vision paint dry. Oh, thank you very much, Carl, for that callback to my home theater podcast.
Maybe I should have chocolate every week.
Please don't.
Yeah.
And this next one is at Comics Fred, our buddy Freddie, remember did Indie Alley. He's back on Twitter, but there was a conversation just today, as a matter of fact, so I thought I'd bring it up here. Fred asked, is anyone else having issues with podcast episodes not updating on Apple iTunes? He said, I'd listen. He's listened to a bunch of podcasts on Spotify, including Brightside Chat and Nerdy Legion podcast, because of it. And then I just scrolled through the conversation right before we brought this up, and it's still ongoing. It just seems to be, it's iTunes, but it doesn't seem to be specific to any one individual. Okay. So like
Right.
people are saying they're having issues with Nerdy Legion. They're having issues with Brightside Chat, or they're having issues with this podcast or that podcast. I've never had an issue pulling up our podcast on my phone. But I've had issues, and it's funny because Martin chimed in just a few minutes ago about this on Twitter, because I talked to Martin last week about it in person. I'm like, their Nerdy Legion, I couldn't get it on iTunes. I had to go to Spotify. but we're on Nerdy Legion, and that one showed up, but then like it wasn't showing up at all, even in the Nerdy Legion feed, or like, I don't know, like, that you can have a Nerdy Legion feed, which every time it shows up on iTunes, it has every podcast from the Nerdy Legion in it. Okay.
Right.
So as an episode, but then you also have the individual feed from the podcast. The biggest issue I've had with our stuff is it would go through like 10 minutes later. Right. So like if I drop these at 6 a.m., I'll find it on my phone at like 6:10, maybe 6:15. Right. But like Nerdy Legion was like hours last week. I was like, it didn't show up. But then Martin said on Twitter, we didn't show up on his phone for like a day.
Really?
Yeah. So you see what I mean by it's the variable? There's so many variables. Like now there's other podcasts I listen to, same issue that Martin had with ours. They're nothing to do with the Nerdy Legion. And they don't show up. I have to go to Spotify or find them someplace else. So it's weird. It's like, unless...
That's weird, because I've never had an issue with any show that I listen to on iTunes. I never go anywhere else to get them.
Right.
Like, I only listen through iTunes. Now, I'll occasionally get, like, episode unavailable when I try to listen to it. And usually I just have to shut down the app and restart it, and it comes right up.
Yeah.
But I don't listen to as many shows as some probably do, but I've got 4 or 5 that I listen to weekly, one of them daily, and they're always there. Like, I've never had a problem. So that's me knocking on wood, because tomorrow I won't have anything.
Yeah.
It's
only the ones that I know when they're like exactly when they're dropping.
But I don't know exactly what time anything drops.
Right.
Like, when I go to listen to it, it's there. Like, I'm never waiting for it.
Right. Yeah. So it could be dropping at 2 a.m. and then you get it at 8, and it took 2 hours to download. But yeah, it's
right.
But I think it's great. I hate that. I know there's an iTunes issue. We've all had them. I know I talked to Ara from the HT guys. They had an issue like a month ago where they had to redo some stuff with iTunes. There's some issues there. But what I love is that these conversations, and then you hear people I've got to go
for us.
That's exactly. I'm like, I had to go here to find you guys. Really? I'm like, people are seeking us out, John. I'm like, growing up, my father used to run away from me so he didn't have to hear me. Because I would talk his ear off about stuff. Now, man, how times have changed, John.
Yeah.
So, but that was it for Mailbag. I didn't put the graphic up. Oh, well, there it is. Nice fancy graphic for us, the Mailbag graphic on YouTube. But yeah, so that was it. Bunch of nice comments this week. Thank you, everybody. If you would like to comment and we could, you want to spark a conversation, let us know. Talk to us on Twitter at @brightside_chat, or you can talk to John directly. And if he happens to be remember anything, or if he doesn't have a couple squares in him, at Arkham Comics with an X. Yeah, he even checks Twitter. So
I check it like once a day.
Yeah.
So.
Send it to me, and I'll let him know. I'll let him know.
Right,
But you can talk to John
best.
directly, especially about Doctor Who, at Arkham Comics with an X.
That's right. Haven't had any Who Talk in a while. Well, it's because it's not on right now.
Right.
But haven't had any Who Talk for a while.
Yep. All right. We ready to get to breaking news for this week?
Yes.
All righty. All right. What do we got first?
Yeah. So this first one was kind of big news. Kevin Smith looks like he's partnering with Dark Horse Comics to develop his own comic book imprint. So there will be a whole line of comics.
What's an imprint? If you don't mind me
like
asking.
He's like his own studio, like through Dark Horse Comics.
Okay, because
I'm trying to think of an example of one, but
I thought Dark Horse Comics was an imprint. You see what I mean?
It's I guess they're the publisher.
Right.
So it'll be a line of comics that don't carry necessarily the Dark Horse branding. It'll have the name of his studio on it, but will be published ultimately through Dark Horse.
Oh,
That's
okay.
kind of the way I envision it to be. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I guess the best example of that would be like with Image Comics, right? Because Image is the publisher, but for instance, all of the Robert Kirkman stuff is like Skybound. But
Oh, okay.
so that's an imprint under Image. You know
Under
what I mean?
Image.
So
Well,
yeah.
Image, Image is that's one that I would imagine you definitely would have them because that's the idea of Image, right? Is
Right,
that the
because they're
artist
all
goes that-
creative. It's
right,
all
they're all
creative
creator
owned
owned.
stuff.
Right.
Right.
But he's doing his through Dark Horse.
Through Dark Horse.
Any idea, like content wise, like what he's going to be
Well,
doing?
there are a couple of things that were listed here. So it's going to be called Secret Stash Press, which makes sense, right? Because of his store. Yeah, there's going to be a book called Masquerade, and written by Kevin Smith, and about a fledgling vigilante. Um, there's going to
Sounds
be a
like
book
me.
called yeah, a book called Quick Stops, which is like an anthology book that's going to feature like a rotating roster of artists and writers, and they're going to star like his characters from like his movies. So Blunt Man and Chronic, or Jay and Silent Bob, or
Yeah.
those characters will be there, and I'm sure the others that he'll have, but those are the first things that he mentions here in the article.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Like I'm a Kevin Smith
You're
fan.
a huge Kevin Smith fan. I like Kevin Smith
and
too.
I like some of the stuff that he's done. Like I liked his Batman run. I liked his Daredevil run. Like some of the stuff he's done in comics, I've enjoyed. So I look forward to seeing what comes out of that.
Cool. All right. What do we got? What do we got next here?
All right. Next up, we have Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are teaming up to star in a sequel to I Am Legend. This is a bit of a head scratcher because if I remember I Am Legend correctly, Will Smith's character did not make it out of the end of that movie. So I'm not sure what is happening here, but
well, it says to star and produce together.
To star, yeah.
I wonder if it's Will Smith's going to produce and and Michael B. Jordan will star, and that's how you get together.
Somebody said that there was like an alternate ending to this, maybe like in the DVD, Blu-rays or something, where he survives the end of the movie. And so that could be a way for him to go forward, but that's odd because how many people would be familiar with the alternate ending of that movie? Again, you and I are people that would watch like those featurettes on a Blu-ray, but most people don't. So I don't know if that's the case. I just heard somebody say that. It could be, again, there's all kinds of ways for people to be in movies, even if they're dead. There's flashbacks, there's Force ghosts, there's all kinds of stuff that happens. So we're not sure how that's going to work, but again, a sequel to a movie that came out 20 years ago that I don't know who was asking for, but I liked I Am Legend. It was one of the few Will Smith movies
I was just going to say, I'm like, did you even like it?
I actually do like.
Oh, okay,
I did
cool.
because, again, I've mentioned it many times. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I actually did like that movie. So I'd be interested to see what they do with the sequel.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. And I love Michael B. Jordan. So,
yeah,
I mean, should be really good. All right.
Should be.
Next up.
Alessandro Nivola has been cast as the villain in the Kraven the Hunter movie. I thought Kraven the Hunter was the villain in the Kraven the Hunter movie, but
do we know who's playing Kraven?
No. So I guess this could be him, but
him?
He doesn't look the part.
Not right
and
now.
It didn't say cast as right, but it also didn't say cast as the lead in the Kraven the Hunter movie.
Right.
It literally said cast as the villain. So I don't know. Again, I envision this to be something like Venom, where Kraven is probably the anti-hero of his own movie, right? He's not the bad guy of his own movie.
Right.
So I guess, he will have an antagonist that he has to square off against. But It's just funny to see. It's like the Joker, such and such cast as the villain in the Joker movie.
Yeah.
Isn't Joker the villain in the Joker movie?
Isn't that him?
You know?
But yeah, but there,
Right.
I mean, there is some room there with Craven as a character.
There is.
Though, so
There
yeah.
is. Similar to like I said, a Harley Quinn or Venom or something, which all started as basically the bad guys.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, become anti-hero type deal. So
Right.
Yep. All right. I'm actually looking forward to that movie. I prefer the movie over all. I mean, it just seems like we keep getting updates on it, but I don't know when they're film. Do you know when they're filming or anything? Or?
I don't know anything about it. And there's all this because there's somebody else, some other actress from This Is Us. I didn't mention this because I don't know who she was or whatever. Has also been cast for this movie. So there's all kinds of casting news for this movie, but we don't know who's actually playing Craven yet. So you think that would be the important casting to get wrapped up first.
The image I have up on YouTube, I actually think I could see him being Craven. Just the look. Yeah, if they have a picture of him and then the Craven behind him, and I could see him if he grew out some facial hair, he had longer hair. I definitely
makeup
see
can
him
do
doing it.
wonders, right?
Yeah.
Like you can turn anybody into Craven. All you really have to do is have a big hairy chest, and you can be Craven.
Well, that's not me.
Everything else they can do in makeup. So they could really even do. If you've watched Pam and Tommy, they can even do a big hairy chest for you if you want to. So you don't actually have to have any particular body type to do anything anymore because makeup and CGI can fill it in for you.
I was blessed with the body of a dolphin. I don't grow hair. It's just ridiculous. It's like I'll get people like, do you shave your chest? No, well, technically yes, but that's because you get that one sprout that just looks stupid.
Just got to get rid of it.
I'm like, this looks ridiculous. It looks like a weed in the middle of a desert. Like, it's embarrassing.
Speaking of like growing hair and I guess getting old, it's like for the first time ever in my life today, I had this giant hair sprouting out of the bridge of my nose, like from the front of it. It's like
really?
I was like, what is that? And I kept trying to wipe it off, and it like wouldn't come off. And I was like, wait a minute, is that actually growing out of like the top of my nose? And I had to get the tweezers and pull it out. Nobody cares about this, but me. But I was
all right, everybody.
I'm in my 50s now. Because I got hair growing.
You can email us at thebrightsidechat at gmail.com or tweet at us at brightside_chat for the sounder for our new segment, Where is Hair Growing From Now?
Yeah.
Not every podcast is bringing you segments like this, huh?
No. This is gold, people. Gold.
This is gold. DJ's got a weed in the middle of his chest, and John has some.
Yeah, I've got the same weed in the middle of my nose. The bridge of my nose.
Oh, God. Tune in next week.
See where I have. See where it's growing out of.
Are they braiding yet? I think
that's why BJ likes us.
BJ just drove off the road.
Yeah, his arms are waving. He's laughing.
Everybody else just shut us off, but BJ just drove off the road. Oh, all right. What
now
are we
I
on?
Picture him with like I didn't know he was a truck driver. Now I picture him with like a little like chimpanzee on his seat driving next to him. Like it's like his truck like red and white. Like,
yep. Yeah. BJ and the bear. Yeah. You nailed it. Yep. You got it. Yeah. Does he have a little chimp? He's got a little dog though. Cute little thing. Yeah, little white dog. Really nice kid.
Nice.
And we talked about it the other day. Well, it came out today or yesterday, if you're listening to this. He said, I think he likes Lion King. I can't remember if it's a boy or a girl, but the dog actually watches.
Dog likes Lion King?
Yeah, watches Lion King, watches animated movies and stuff. Really enjoys it. Sits there and watches movies with him. So that's pretty cool.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, he looks like Ed Sheeran, like dead ringer. That's what BJ looks like. Yeah, it looks dead ringer. He's got red hair. He's got the beard. Looks just like Ed Sheeran, but he sounds like Owen Wilson. in the middle of the podcast. I was like, oh my God, because I just did Behind Enemy Lines like last week.
Right.
So I listened to Owen Wilson a ton, and he sounds like Owen Wilson. It's pretty, it's funny meeting listeners like that. I'm like, I'm having listeners on and like,
yeah, because all you have is text. You don't have
Right.
any frame of reference except for text messages or tweets, you know?
Right. So you jump on and you're like, hi. And you're like, I mean, obviously talking to Steve last week, and he's from over in England, and you get that accent. And I got a bunch of comments this past week. It's one, who was it that somebody said, Johnny Speakers. He's commented to us too. Johnny Speakers, he's like, add a British accent to a podcast, takes a podcast from a good podcast to a great podcast. I'm like,
Right.
hey,
It's instantly classier.
right. Instantly, I'm like, all right. I said, message sent, message received. I need to work on my English accent so that I can improve my podcast, take it to the next level. So we should work on that for next week, John.
Yeah.
We're going to take break.
I'll work on my accent.
There you go. All right. What do we got next? We got, oh yeah, we got more for news, right? Or you got another hair growing.
No, I got a fraud alert. Hang on. I got a fraud alert from my bank on my
Oh
phone.
boy. Oh. All right. Well,
Let me
next
just
up.
Text, no, this wasn't me.
Nope, that wasn't you.
All right.
Did they take all your money?
No, it was like $1 charge. It's something called DuneFund.com.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
DuneFund.com.
They're
I don't know
pinging
what
it.
was, but
You're about to
Yeah.
get hit. Yep.
yeah.
They're pinging it.
so-
They're taking $1, then they'll take the rest. Huh. Little do they know. What are they going to do with $10?
Little do they know, I have Chase, and they're on top of it.
There you
So-
go. Message. Now
Oh,
we're
look
doing
at that. I just
commercials
got
for
2 emails
Chase.
too.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Next up, we have, what do we have? Oh, we're Quantum
Next up,
Leap.
yeah, Raymond Lee is set to star in NBC's
Mhm.
Quantum Leap reboot. So I imagine in the what's his name, Scott Bakula role. I would
Yeah.
guess.
I think he's actually part of the show, though, isn't he?
Although,
Scott
yeah, I thought
Bakula's
he was
coming back.
actually. I thought he was coming back to play the Scott Bakula role, but I don't
Well, he
know.
probably is, but he's
Um,
probably going to be training somebody new, I would bet. Like it's,
Yeah,
you know,
maybe so.
he's going to be the wise old man in
and
the
Dean
chair.
Dean Stockwell just passed,
Hmm.
so maybe Scott Bakula is like the Dean Stockwell role,
Right.
and Raymond Lee is going to be the guy doing the jumping. I always liked Quantum Leap, so I'm excited to see this come back.
I didn't really get into it. Not because I didn't like it. It just, I didn't really watch it. And then I
Really?
felt like once it was going, it was one of those, well, it's too late for me to join on now. But
Well, no, because it was super like mystery of the week, episode of the week type.
Oh,
of
was
thing.
it? They
was
didn't-
one of those shows. Yeah, it was one of those shows that you could just jump in and out of from week to week. All you had to know was that he was lost, which you got in the credits. Like
Right.
I told you the whole thing about how he was trying to. Hopefully, the next leap will be my leap back home or whatever. And then after that, you could watch any episode. It was very anthology based.
right.
So
All right.
I always liked it. Yeah.
I'll add it to my list.
Yeah. Let's go back and watch Quantum Leap because I have nothing else to watch.
Well, that would be the show to jump around on.
It would
See?
be.
Huh? Huh?
You can leap in and out of any episode.
There you
DJ.
go. Look at us. All
And
right.
then, the last thing I have, Chris Hemsworth has been cast as the villain in George Miller's Furiosa movie. So this is the spinoff from the George Miller's Mad Max movie.
Mhm.
What's her name? Why can't I think of her name?
Charlize Theron?
Furiosa. Charlize Theron, right.
Yep.
She's getting her own movie. Chris Hemsworth is set to play the villain. So this should be fun. I'm looking forward to the movie.
Yeah.
And Chris Hemsworth is great in everything. So
And so is Charlize Theron.
she is too. Yes.
Yeah. Love
They're
her
both-
in
they're both good.
everything. She really is. She like monster. I mean, not to just go by her looks. I'm saying. I mean,
Right.
she's just fantastic, and she's one of those actors they'll do any. And that's what I really respect about actors is that'll do anything. They're not like so caught up in their like, oh, I need my image to be this, and they'll do like she'll do comic book movies, she'll do comedies, action. dramas, anything. She just likes to work, and I think that to me that's an artist.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not to just keep going on about this, but I just realized they just closed my debit card.
Yep. Yeah.
God dang it.
Yep. I knew that was coming next because they're about to hit you. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It's like, oh, we will close your card. Thank you. It's like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know.
So.
I've been hit like that. I got hit like that once when I was with Bank of America. And I didn't get to it in time because they did it like in the middle of the night or whatever, so I didn't get my alerts. Right. This was way back when we didn't have 24/7 our phones in our faces, right?
Right.
Next day, they had emptied our savings account. And I was fighting with them trying to get our money back, fighting with them on the phone, and Jen had to take over because I was like so frustrated. And they're like, they literally walked into a bank in Texas and just took cash, took the money. And I'm like, what we had to go through to try to get our money, to prove we were who we were, we're like,
right.
How did these people steal this stuff so easily and I can't get my own damn money back?
Right.
Like, I'm sitting here. Well, there was no time you were in Texas? No. Yeah. I'm like, I'm talking to you now here. I'm like, what?
Yeah, they've actually gotten me twice too.
Yeah.
You got my whole balance. Once was in like Minnesota or something. The other one was when we were in Cancun. They got, they got it there. So
yeah,
it's no fun.
I don't even use my debit card anymore. I just use credit cards.
I needed a new card anyways.
Well, now you're getting one. Hashtag Brightside.
There you go.
All right. We got to get to this before we get to comics. Spoiler free, John, the Batman.
Oh, okay.
What did you think?
Doing this now?
Let's do this now, and then we'll
okay.
kind of bookend the show. Maybe we could have done it earlier, but I mean, spoiler free. What did you think?
Well,
the Batman.
Again, this is a movie that I didn't like as much as you did. I liked the movie.
Right.
I don't think it was necessarily the best Batman movie we've ever got, which a lot of people are saying. I still think Dark Knight is a better movie. I thought this was good. We'll get into this further. I did have a couple of issues with it, but overall, I enjoyed it. I feel like they could have cut off a good 30 minutes of this and made it a better movie.
Really?
Yeah,
that's what we're going to get into.
I'll tell you exactly.
Yeah,
I'll tell you exactly what they could have cut.
Oh, we're throwing down.
And but ultimately, I think Pattinson did a good job. I liked his Batman. I didn't like his Bruce Wayne. We'll get into that a little bit later too. But overall, it's good. It's definitely a great movie. I really liked it. I just don't think it was as good as Dark Knight, or again, hearing you talk, I didn't like it as much as you did.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm just like when we talked the other day, I'm so surprised you didn't love it because it's what we've been asking for. That this is what Dark Knight, I agree. Dark Knight is awesome. And maybe, recency bias will wane and I'll be like, all right, yeah, Dark Knight is the better movie. I mean, they're both awesome, but right now, trying to keep recency bias at bay, I would say I put this ahead because of the detective story that this is. That is just so much fun. That is like, as this movie plays out, that's why I'm like, I didn't think this movie dragged. There wasn't a moment that I wanted it to be over.
I didn't think it dragged either, but there was a point where I thought we were at the end of the movie, and then it just went on.
Right.
And I really would have been okay if that was the end of the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we got another 20 to 30 minutes after that.
Right.
And not that it was like a bad 30 minutes or 20 minutes.
Right.
But it could have not been there. And
Yeah.
the movie would have been the same for me. So.
Yeah. It didn't elevate it. Didn't bring it down, but it didn't elevate it for you.
Right.
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 Yeah. I like the whole thing as a whole. I said to you the other day, I'm like, I want there to be more, but I literally don't see how you could add more to this. I mean, it is 3 hours long, but you couldn't even expound on any of the characters. I thought they had great character development for all of these characters. I love his Bruce Wayne. I think it's a moment in time. You see a lot of the criticisms off the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler, but off the trailer, people are like, oh, emo Bruce, emo that, and I'm like, it's not really emo and I'll get into it in spoilers.
Well, yeah, we'll get. We're gonna throw down on that too.
Yeah,
because I'm the opposite of you there.
Right.
I don't like his Bruce.
I see why people say it, but
and I don't think it's necessarily that it's emo Bruce. I just think Bruce is not a good dude. Like, I just didn't like him at all as Bruce.
I don't think he's trying to be liked. I mean, we'll get into it in spoilers. It's all explainable to me. It doesn't mean it's going to change your view or anything like that, but I'm just saying that's why I loved it. And I love where this story is going. I mean, this is another trilogy. I'm really looking forward to the next movie, but I'm also looking forward to the shows too now. I mean, we have
because we're
Gotham
getting 2
PD
shows
and Penguin. And
now Gotham PD, I don't even think we get Gordon in that show.
We don't?
I'm not sure. Like, I don't remember him being necessarily part of that, although I don't know how you do it without him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you do Gotham PD without Gordon. But I don't remember seeing any confirmation that he was actually part of it.
I thought he was great. What's his name again? Do you remember?
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. Yeah. Yes. I thought he was.
Yeah, I like him in everything.
So good in this.
He's really good. Yes.
I thought he was so good. I mean, I can't wait to get into spoilers and talk all like the scenes that with him and Batman. That's why I think he's one of the best Batmen too. I love the Batman. I know there's parts of it that you didn't like costume wise, but you did you did like the costume.
But overall I liked his Batman. I did like his Batman, and I did like his look as Batman. Yes, I had a couple of problems with the cape and the costume, but
yeah. We'll get into all of that.
Yeah, that's more costume designer than anything to do with Robert Pattinson, you know? So,
right, yeah. Yeah. All right. So I can't wait to see it again. The tough thing about the 3-hour time play is it's tough to
it makes it hard to see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it hard to see it again in the theater. Like, I will look forward to getting this thing on disc and watching it. Oh. Well, I guess we'll have it on HBO Max before we have it on disc.
It's like April 19th, I think, something like that. It's because there's a 45-day hard window, but supposedly 46th day it's dropping on HBO Max, and at 3 hours, that's going to be great. You'll be able to sit down, watch it.
Yeah,
you
we'll
can
definitely
take your
watch
pee break
it again.
and hit pause.
Yes. I was just I was happy with myself that I only had to go one time during the movie.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
look at you.
I was like 3 hours. I might have to take 2 or 3 trips, but
I made it. I made it all the way through. No
you?
problem. Oh yeah. Yeah, I wasn't getting up for a second.
You're like a camel.
Oh yeah. That's right. I just wet myself.
There you go. I refuse to be uncomfortable for a movie anymore. You know what I mean? It's just
I assume that's why they're allowing that seat between me and the next party on either side of me. Just let it ride, baby. Get extra napkins and let it go. I'm not missing a moment of this.
I brought an empty water bottle. I'm okay.
Not empty no more.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh no. I'm gonna fill it. Uh-oh. Oh, there's that moment of panic.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right. Is that it on spoiler free? That's it. Because I'm just gonna.
Yeah, well, because to go any deeper, we'll have to start breaking it down.
So Kryptonite coming up in an hour? I don't know.
Probably not, because these next few segments aren't very long.
All right, Lynn. Let's get right to them then. So, John, what did we spend our money on this week? Where's the sound?
Oh, I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
All right. The first book we had was from Image Comics. It was called Rogue Sun, obviously issue number 1. It was written by Ryan Parrott. It had art by Abel and Chris O'Halloran. Cover art by Declan Shalvey. So this book, you begin with a character called Rogue Sun. who's the superhero in New Orleans, and he gets killed in battle, basically against one of his enemies. And you find out that he has an estranged son and ex-wife that he's left behind that aren't doing great, as he went on to become rich and marry into money and live a good life for himself until he got killed. And he, I guess the item that gives him his superpowers or lets him become a hero is called the Sunstone, and he leaves it to Dylan, his estranged son, to take up the mantle as this hero rogue son. So that's kind of the basis of the first issue. I mean, there is a scene towards the end of this where the son does put on the suit and go out and try to be the hero rogue son, and is quickly discovered by one of his frequent villains, I guess, that he's not the same guy that he used to be. I thought this was a lot of fun, actually. I really liked the book. I liked the world that was set up here. I do think the art was a little hit and miss for me.
Yes.
There was some pages where I really liked it, but there was others where
grainy.
It was grainy. Well, that and like the faces and the perspectives and things didn't look right to me in certain scenes. So
yeah, I felt like the art had like a texture to it that didn't seem appropriate. But yeah,
actually, you know what? I take that back. This is the other book I'm going to say that about. The art
really?
Here, yeah. This one didn't bother me as much as the next book we're going to talk about.
Really?
But yeah, I think the art here was still inconsistent, and maybe it's the fact that there was two different people working on it. Because I don't know.
That's
Abel and Crystal. Like I don't know what each person was in charge of here, but yeah. Actually, I got the two books confused.
Really? Because I thought, the other book, I thought the art was good.
Well, again,
I enjoyed it.
There was flashes of it being good, but then there was other pages where I didn't think it was as good. So
yeah.
But anyways, as far as Rogue Sun goes, I liked it. I liked the kind of the situations they set up with, this guy. It kind of reminded me, we're going to go back old school to things people don't know anything about, like the Greatest American Hero, where like he's got this ability now. He's got this suit. He's got this ability, but he doesn't know how to do anything. He really doesn't know how to fight. He might be able to fly and he might have these powers, but he doesn't know how to use them. But he's taking on the mantle of a hero that's protected New Orleans for years and years and is respected and, feared by the villains and all this stuff.
Right.
And, now you've got this kid who isn't that guy, but, obviously is going to have to make his own way and figure out how to do this as things go on. So, and then there's also like, why was it left to him? He had another family, he had a new family, a new wife, new son, and new daughter.
Did he have a new son and daughter? I didn't necessarily grab that. Did I miss that?
Yeah, no, he did.
I know he got remarried.
The son said, "You don't look anything like our dad." He was like a spoiled, kind of Damian Wayne type of character in a way, and who fully expected to be left the Sunstone, and he wasn't left it. So there's going to be questions there, like why was that left to him? So I'm interested to see where this goes. I like Ryan Parrott. I've liked his other works. So,
already signed up for it. I really enjoyed it. I liked everything that you just said, and the only thing you touched on a little bit, but I love the kids. That perspective of a kid that thinks they know everything. Like he gets the suit. And he thinks the suit does everything. Like, you're invincible now. Like, I mean, kids think that anyways. I mean,
exactly.
Should have seen us driving around Franklin. We didn't have a suit. And but the thing is now you give this kid the suit, and in the stone, and he thinks he's now he's a superhero. He's really invincible. And it's what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And that's where I think this book is going to shine, is how much he's going to learn. I love that the interaction with the bad guy at the end. And I'm that really piqued my interest there. And that's what made me go all right, I'm signing up for this book. I want number 2. And I think there's going to be more of that. And then, like you said, the whole thing going on.
Well, then obviously
the
the villain that killed the father is probably going to come back looking for the son, right? And if the father, who was experienced, with his powers for years, wasn't a match for this guy,
right?
How is the kid going to be? So I think there's some interesting things that they're setting up here.
And the kid, I love there was a line in there I'm going to be better than him. He automatically, he just thinks it's easy. He's already had it figured out, and he hadn't even gone anywhere in the suit yet. So I love that. I love watching, especially now, at our advanced age, John, we got, hairs growing everywhere, and the things we've experienced, we know we're so wise.
You got that right.
All right. You ready to get to the next book?
Yeah. The next book was from Marvel Comics. It was Strange, issue number 1. It was written by Jed MacKay, had art by Marcelo Ferreira, cover art by Bjorn Barends. So this book picks up right where the death of Doctor Strange ended. I don't know if you read that miniseries or not.
No.
But in that book, spoilers, Doctor Strange was killed.
Kind of necessary to know that for this book.
Hence the death of
and
Doctor
I got
Strange,
that.
right.
I got that.
Right. And they do kind of revisit it a little bit at the beginning of this book.
I wasn't
through the
lost.
death of Doctor Strange, Strange is killed, and a younger version of himself is resurrected to solve the murder. They ultimately are able to bring Stephen back from the dead, but only temporarily, and really just long enough for him to pass on the title in his the Eye of Agamotto and his I don't know what the word's not coming to my head, but the eye and the cape and all his tools, of being the Sorcerer Supreme. He passed them on to his wife Cleo, and she now is the new Sorcerer Supreme. And so that's what this book focuses on is Cleo. Now, she's not the same as Stephen.
Nope.
She's a little bit meaner.
Yeah.
And a little bit less concerned with image and people's well-being when she's done with them.
Right.
But yeah, so but she's not human, right? She's from another dimension. She's part demon, she's got all that stuff going for her. But she's the Sorcerer Supreme. And so this book starts, with people challenging her authority as the Sorcerer Supreme, like Victor Von Doom comes in, and it just assumes that with Stephen gone, he's going to be the Sorcerer Supreme, and they kind of get into it a little bit because she's not giving it up. And her mission is to resurrect Stephen and bring him back to life. So this I thought
she's
was a lot
demon
of fun
with a
as well.
heart.
Exactly, like Nyx.
Right.
Demon with a heart of gold. But I really liked this book.
Me too.
I liked the interactions with her and Wong, and even Bats, which is the dog, and all that stuff with Doom. I thought was great. But yeah, I think this looks like a fun series. I'm not sure if it's a mini series or an ongoing. I didn't look that information up, but yeah, this is the book where I thought the art was spotty. Like there were pages where I thought it was really good, but then there were other pages where like her facial expressions and the way she looked, I thought was not great. There was a scene where she was talking to Wong, and it kind of looked like his head was on one of those swivel arms that like the bathroom mirrors go on.
Okay.
And it was like kind of off to the right, but still looking straight at you. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. There was a couple of scenes where I thought the art was rushed, but ultimately, this was a fun book. I really liked both of these books this week.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I did too. I liked, and again, I didn't read the series where he died, so but I wasn't lost at all. I thought this is I mean, if you know who Doctor Strange is, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You pick this up and you're going to jump right into it. I think it's a really interesting story on where this is going. It's funny you mentioned Nick's. A little bit of that. I felt a little bit of that, like similarities. I didn't think of it until you said it. But yeah, a lot of fun. And yeah, do you think it's going to play into any other part of Marvel? Like any other books?
Well, I believe because because there was already there was that line where they said something about, you need to introduce yourself to the Avengers and no, I fully expect her to interact with the entire Marvel universe. Like she is Doctor Strange she is the Sorcerer Supreme for now. I mean, for the time being. So she's going to interact with everybody. I would imagine. And until if and when they bring Steven back, she's it. So I imagine this will cross over with everybody in one way or another. So
yeah, should be good. Looking forward to it. So tough decision. What are we going with?
It is, but I think I would go with Rogue Sun simply because it's an indie book. Like it's not Marvel. I like them both a lot, but I feel like if we're going to promote something with our, with the giant reach that we have, it needs to be an indie book and not necessarily Marvel doesn't need our help, so
I think I actually got a message the other day to stop helping them. I think they reached out to us, which was very nice of them. Thank you for reaching out. Stop talking about us, please.
It was a cease and desist order, to be fair, but
I know. But I do have it framed right here on the wall.
Yes.
We've been canceled. Woo! Somebody's paying attention, and they don't like us. Hey, attention is attention.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right. Just happy to get it. All right. Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll go with Rogue Sun from Image. So pretty cool.
And at this point, can you even call Image like an indie anymore? Like they're just as big as Marvel and DC at this point.
Well, they are, but each book is an indie to itself. They just happen to be
it is,
So that's the beauty of it.
But Image is firmly in the number 3 spot, so I don't even consider them.
But that's the umbrella, though.
Anymore.
But they're all indie under the umbrella. But you're actually promoting the writers. Ryan Parrott
and Abel. Yeah, they're the creators.
So you're promoting them as opposed to like Marvel. It's like, that's Marvel. Not that there aren't writers and stuff, but they have less of a stake in the actual sales. I would imagine from everything I understand. So I'm sure Martin's going to yell at me because I'm not fully aware of the business side of everything, but
well,
I was like, what do I know? Jeez.
Do your homework, man.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's still sitting there with a stupid TV because he needed a septic system. But okay, whatever. Priorities.
Right.
All right. Let's see. What do we got coming next week? I know. I'm just playing along, John.
Well, actually, I'm going to call an audible on one of these.
Oh no.
Because I saw something today that came in after I'd already sent these notes. But we're gonna take a look at Radiant Red.
All right, good. I have that up there.
Yeah, this is the spinoff from Radiant Black, obviously.
Yep.
And then a book called Little Monsters, issue number 1.
Okay, and unfortunately, I don't have an image for that because John called an audible.
I threw DJ for a loop. Yeah, so that's what happens when I send the notes a day early.
I know you. Yeah, that's right. You sent them yesterday. What? Little Monsters?
Little Monsters, yeah, issue number 1.
Is that spelled little as in Little or a Lil Lil?
No, Little Little.
Okay.
Little Monsters.
All right.
Not like Lil Abner.
And who's that by?
Not sure. I don't remember.
Oh, jeez. Little Monsters number 1. All right, I will find it.
Yeah.
All righty. Excellent. What else did you read this week? Anything good?
I read a bunch of stuff, but nothing really jumped out at me
No.
this week. But I did start reading
Did we
Sex
talk about
Criminals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How was that?
Did we talk about what?
Dark Ages last week.
We
With
didn't
Deadpool
talk about
opened
it.
than that.
I did read it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Again, super fun.
Yeah, Deadpool's pretty funny.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, did somebody die?" Like, yeah, Fury. Oh,
Yeah.
and the face they drew for him, it was awesome. That was funny.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Dark Ages was good. I mean, I read a bunch of Dark Knights of Steel, number 5 or whatever it was came out. That was good. I mean, everything was good, but nothing just jumped out at me like, oh, I got to talk about this book,
Yeah.
I read all the releases that I read every week. But,
Right.
But yeah, no, I listened to Dr. Joe talk about Sex Criminals on TLDR a couple weeks ago, and I had always kind of wanted to get to that one and had it on the back burner, but I finished with the book I was reading, and so I was like, let me start reading Sex Criminals. So I started that last night. I read the first 5 issues, I believe, which is the end of the first trade paper, is like the first arc. That's written by Matt Fraction, has art by Chip Zdarsky. Yeah, it's super fun. So far, I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I've only read the first trade. 5 issues. I think there's like 31 issues altogether. If you don't know the premise of this book, it kind of focuses on the female. I can't remember any of their names yet because I'm not that deep into the story yet.
Yeah.
But basically, when she has an orgasm, time stops for her, and she discovers this purely by accident. Doesn't realize at first that this is only happening to her. She thinks it's what happens to everybody, and finds out through a lot of trial and error that it only happens to her.
So what do you mean time stops? Like everything?
Time stops for everybody but her. So just imagine
so everything's frozen around her. So
everything's frozen around her except for her.
For how long?
So with her, it's unclear. It just kind of wears off over time. With the guy, it's different. So of course, eventually she hooks up with a guy, and he has the same quote unquote ability. So when they both finish, they look over and realize that they're both still they're not alone.
They're moving.
They're both still moving. Right. And so they figure out that they're unique in this together. But with him, it's when he feels like he has the need to want to have sex again, that's when it stops for him. He can stay in it indefinitely. And so once they figure this out, then they basically become like bank robbers and stuff. They're like, oh, well, let's use this for something. And so they start planning.
So what do they go do it outside of a bank? Wait for a time to freeze.
So
and
basically,
run in?
they in the bathroom of the bank, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And then they go out and they rob the bank. But of course, they realize that they are not the only ones in the world that this happens to, even though it's a rare ability. But there's like the sex police who police this.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say world, but wherever they seem to go when time stops, they are all still able to maneuver through that. And so they're being hunted by these quote unquote sex police who figure out that they're running around committing crimes. So I don't know much more than that because that's all you get from 5 issues, but it's a lot of fun. The writing is good.
Sounds it.
This is a case where Chip does the art. He doesn't really do the writing. Here.
Oh, okay.
Matt Fraction does the writing. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. I actually look forward to continuing on with this and reading the rest of it.
Cool.
So,
cool. Just keeping up. I think Batman, we didn't talk about that last week.
We didn't talk about it, but yeah, I read that as well.
Yep.
It continues to be fine, but not remarkable.
Exactly. And it's like, you're like, okay, it's wrapping up. And like we talked about last week, you're like, it's almost over.
Yeah, there's only a couple left. Yeah, there's then, 2 more issues. And then
can't wait for my birthday.
Yeah. And then Mr. Chip comes in. So.
Yep. getting Chip Zdarsky for my birthday this year. Sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Also Star Wars. That was. Did you read that one?
Was it I did, but was it which book was it?
The main
I don't
one.
even remember.
Star Wars 22.
It was the main one, right? Yes, I did. It was with Dameron's wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pose.
Yeah, she's still trapped on the Poe's mom. She's trapped on the Star Destroyer. And yes, that was good.
Yeah, and the dad's like, I'm going in there and I'm getting her and all that. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's about it. I'm also, Ready Player 2. I'm back on that. BJ was telling me the other day he read it and he actually listens to the audio tape, and the audio is the book is read by Will Wheaton.
Oh, really?
And he said it's really cool because Will Wheaton's actually a character in the book too, as Will Wheaton, because they reference him in the book, so he has to read about himself when he's reading the book. Do you see what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of audiobooks. I'm trying to listen to Will Wheaton.
I can't do it because my mind wanders.
Yeah. And
like I listen to him when I'm driving, and I find myself like 3 chapters later and I have no idea what just happened because I wasn't really paying attention.
Right.
Because
exactly.
Yeah, I can't really do I actually prefer just to read them.
Yeah.
Because I get more out of it that way.
Well, the other thing is Jen showed me how to get it on my Kindle app for my iPhone. So now I can take the book, like I have the book, and now I'm like, but the Kindle app is a pain. I haven't even figured that out 100%. I don't know how to get to the page because it just scrolls.
Oh, really? See, I read everything on Kindle.
Oh, do you? And does it have pages?
You literally just swipe. You just swipe
on
left.
That. But I think I did a wrong setting on my iPad because mine's scrolling. So I have to figure out how to turn it back to the pages thing because I want to get the actual pages so I can match it up with my book and figure out where I was. And now I'm like, I'm just scrolling, looking for words that I recognize, and shows up a lot. So.
Well, yeah, but can't you go by chapters? I think you can select by chapters in the beginning of the book.
Yeah,
but I don't know how to turn it back, like from scrolling to, like I said.
Yeah, I don't know. I've gone back to the book, and
I read everything on Kindle. I haven't actually read except for comics, but I mean, I haven't read a physical book in probably 10 years or more.
Yeah,
because I've been using my Kindle ever since I got an iPad.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yep. Now all my comics are in the Kindle too.
Right.
Because the Kindle. That's why I got the Kindle app, because this whole Amazon Comixology snafu. It's so bad now. But all right. No, it's not bad. It's just not what it was. So it's way more confusing. I guess you just got to get used to it. So. All right. You ready to get to some real world here?
I am. You're going to be very disappointed this week.
Me? I don't think so. All right. Let's get to it. Why isn't my sound working?
I don't know.
All right. Why am I disappointed?
So, because I have literally nothing.
What happened? TV break?
Well, no, but remember I told you last week I had the whole thing with the internet being down and Lydia was gone. So basically, we were just really behind on our episodic TV shows.
Right.
To the point where we literally just got caught up last night. So I don't really have anything to talk about because we were just watching The Resident and Grey's Anatomy and, all that kind of stuff.
So you didn't get to try
but I did watch,
Anna?
No, I didn't. Okay. We didn't even touch Netflix. But I did watch Picard, the first episode of Picard.
What'd you think?
Which I really enjoyed.
Oh. And you know what I wanted to say to everybody right away about that?
It. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sure you enjoyed it more than me. You're a huge Star Trek fan, and you understand.
Well, and I was going to say you don't know the character of Q.
Yes, I do. I know of him.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Okay.
I think because you gave me some episodes in the past.
The Borg episode.
Correct.
That I had you watch actually had Q in it.
Yep. Okay. I knew who he was.
I was going to give you some Q homework too.
Yeah.
If you wanted it.
Great homework now. No, but that's one of the things that I wanted to say is that I think this, you don't even have to have seen the first Picard to watch this. I think it's a great
looks like
show.
It stands alone on its own.
On Paramount Plus. And it's very well produced. I don't think it's not an Atmos, is it?
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't think it was.
Is Halo
even though
be
Paramount
Atmos?
Plus has Atmos? I hope it is.
I hope so too.
But I don't know.
That's next week.
But actually,
right?
because I know that Discovery is not in Atmos either, so I don't think Picard is.
Okay. But it looks so good.
But it looks great. It still sounded great.
It still sounded great. Yeah, it had really nice, low effects to it. Really nice.
Right.
But yeah, as far as story-wise, you don't even have to have been a Star Trek fan, because that's what, I know Star Trek. I like the movies. I grew up with it, but I wasn't a Trekkie like you. And when we did the first season of Picard, I really enjoyed it. So I was really looking forward to this one. But this one has nothing to do really with the first one. It's just another chapter in his life.
We are going to meet the characters. The characters are the only thing that carries over from season 1, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, and same for my wife. Like, she's not a Star Trek watcher either and doesn't know really anything about it. I did the same thing with her last year, and we watched a couple of those Borg episodes just so she could have an idea what she was watching. But she also enjoys this because, like you said, you don't have to have a history with Star Trek or even know who Picard is. You don't have to really know anything. You can just jump right in and start watching these. And yeah, this season, again, there's some fan service because Whoopi Goldberg is back as Guinan. It looks like Brent Spiner's coming back sometime this season. This one kind of seems like we're going to be back in like present day. Like it's going to be them back in, basically in 2022 or something.
Right.
So, that should be interesting. Kind of like Star Trek 4 when they came back to save the whales,
Yeah.
And,
I think this one's going to be better
in
than
modern
that.
times. I think so. But
yeah. The trailer part at the end of the episode was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing what the season's going to be.
Right.
Really, really nice. Really, I was very excited for it. I was excited for the show anyways, but then by the end of the episode, I thought they did a great job of, like we say in comic books, just get me to the second book. And this was just,
this gets you to the second episode.
Yeah.
For sure.
But like I said, you don't have to have seen anything before. You just, as long as you know who Picard is, which I think pretty much everybody does if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
So, all right, what else?
And then Outlander season 6 came back on Sunday. So this is a show Lydia and I both really enjoy that show. So I was definitely looking forward to that. I rejoined or resubscribed to Stars for the show, just to watch it. And yeah, it looks like, again, should be a good season. It was only one episode, so it's kind of hard to tell where it's going to go. But if you like the show, you'll enjoy the episode. But like I said, other than that, it was just all stuff. We watched TV, but it wasn't anything really of note for us to talk about. So
okay, same thing here. I'm plugging away on all my stuff, inventing Anna, enjoying that. I think we're going to do another Euphoria tonight after we're done here. Endgame. I didn't see this week's episode, Monday's episode.
No, but I did. I saw the second episode.
Good, right?
From last week. It was good, yes.
Yeah,
but I haven't watched anything that happened.
Yeah, that just
any of the Monday shows yet. Because again, my Monday shows don't become available until Tuesday.
Yeah, same here. I watch because I like watching them on the app instead of like live,
right?
Because it's no commercials. You go right to It's so much nicer. But one show we did start. Have you seen this one yet? Dropout on Hulu.
No.
So
I've seen like the poster for it on Hulu, but
and
I don't know anything about it really.
Yeah, it's a true story of this woman that she was. It's very controversial. What she did. It was controversial in our house because I was like, I kind of see why she did what she did. It's not really a spoiler, but the whole thing is So this woman had this idea for this blood testing thing. And she thought of the science for it, like, we can do this.
I know the story. Garmin's talked about her. Okay.
Everybody has. They actually
This
did
is a movie about her?
Yeah.
Okay.
They did a whole episode of Bull, a 1-hour episode where Bull, the show Bull, where he defends people. He actually defended a character just like this. And when that was like a year and a half ago, we watched that episode. And like, I was explaining everything to Jen because I'd already heard about this whole entire scam ahead of time. And when you look at it, especially from Bull's perspective, like, you see what she was trying to do. And I'm trying to explain it to Joe. And I'm saying to Joe, I'm like, he's like, yeah, but she's just scamming people for money. And I was like, I get it, but she's scamming it like in the name of science. Doesn't mean it's right. But at the same time, it's not like she's just trying to get money for herself to make herself rich. She was trying to, like, she just kept pushing to the next level and she needed more money to do more research. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like, doesn't mean it's right, but you see how it's like controversial? Like, well, how do you get the money to do the research? And like Joe said, he's like, there are grants for that. There are ways to do that. And I'm like, I know. But that's it's a really, I like the show. I like the story. I think it's just going to be interesting to go through it. And they're doing a really good job. The woman, I can't remember who's playing her, but Jen saw a thing on like 2020 and the woman playing her is a dead ringer for the real life person. Jen was
really?
like, yeah, they had them like side by side on like split screen. And she was saying the lines and then the recording that they had for real. And you're like, oh my God. And it's like, I haven't seen it. That's what Jen was telling me, but it is good. So if you like real life stuff and see what happens, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay.
Really enjoyed that. Almost done with Space Force. We have one episode. Yeah, we have, I pulled the, thing I like to do. Pull back on it because I was like,
right. Because you only had one left.
Yeah. Jen's like, let's do, last one's up. Let's do that. I go, oh, whoa. Let's save that. We'll come back. But
why finish a show? When you can just go on to another one.
It's only, isn't it only like six episodes or something?
It was short.
It was really short.
6 or 7 episodes, and they're like 20 minutes each, 25 minutes each.
Yeah.
So
we just ended on obviously the second to last one, but when they show the Time magazine cover.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, because they were all excited to be on it. And you're like, and then they pull back and you see the headline. You're like, oh, that hurts. Yeah. And of course, The Expanse. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think the picture quality is getting better. It is so
well,
good.
when it switches to Amazon, it gets better.
What's that?
I don't remember what season it was. Second, it was either the end of it was either the third season or the fourth season. I don't remember which. I can't remember if Sci-Fi had it for 2 or 3 years. Okay. But when it switches over to Amazon Prime, it goes
gets
into
even better.
Well, because it goes into like Atmos and 4K.
Oh, okay.
And it gets better. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was not bad to start with when it was on Sci-Fi, but it didn't have Atmos or anything. So whenever you get Atmos, that's when you switched to Amazon Prime.
I'll have to check. Yeah. I'll check every episode when I fire it up.
Cool. Well, it was a season though. It was either season 3 or season 4. So it wasn't like just a random episode in the middle of the season, but they finished it and then it went to Amazon Prime, which I think it was 3 and 3 actually. So it's probably like the beginning of season 4.
Yeah. Well, Bezos loves this space.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he loves his kid because it was his kid liked the show.
Oh,
so
really?
Bezos bought it for him. Yeah. Basically, his son loved the show and it got canceled. And so he asked his father to like pick it up and put it on Amazon, and he did. So that's what happens, when you're a trillionaire, you can just buy your son TV shows.
Well, I do the same thing. They just buy them the DVD.
Exactly.
It's like, here.
Well, like if I had that kind of money, I would never have a show cliffhanger again because I would just get the end of it.
Keep writing it, right? Yeah.
Just keep writing it until I get a satisfying ending.
Joe liked Westworld, so I gave him Westworld for Christmas box set. Okay.
Right.
I'm just like Bezos. Come on.
Just like him.
Just like him. I even got him season 2.
There you go. look at that.
And it's in Atmos. So, hey, me and Bezos, like twins. Twins.
Yeah, like Arnold and Danny DeVito.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bank accounts wise, yeah.
Right.
All right. That it for Real World?
Yeah, short one this week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, real short. All right. That will do it for this week. We're gonna have Kryptonite though, John. We've got some stuff to get to. Wow, this show's kind of cooked along, but we still got some stuff to get to. Plenty.
Yeah, we'll do some Kryptonite.
Yeah, can't wait. All right. Hey, if you'd like to be a part of the show, just email us at thebrightsidechat@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at brightside_chat or at Arkham Comics with an X, and we'll talk about it in Mailbag. Who knows what conversation you will spark up? Who knows?
That's right.
Speaking
of sparking up. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Tell us where your hairs are growing from.
Yeah.
Oh, and but yeah, all right. Let's get to. I can't wait to get to Kryptonite because we are gonna throw down. I think I don't know because we're both pretty passionate. You're actually the more passionate. That's probably why you're the more passionate Batman fan than I am. But this one was so good. So, all right. That'll if you haven't seen the movie yet, go see the movie. Come back 3 hours later.
We'll wait. Check
in with us on Kryptonite. But if not, we'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody, and we need 4.
Take care, everyone.
Hey, Fred. All righty, John. All righty. We're back.
Alrighty.
We are back here, and we're going to talk the Batman. Spoilers, John. So you know what you got to do.
What do I got to do?
You got to lock the door, buddy.
Oh, that's right, man. We haven't done this in so long. I forgot.
I know. Well, I
forgot my responsibilities.
Exactly. Got to lock that door. Lock that door. Lock that. All right. The Batman. I am vengeance.
Yes.
All right. Let's get
Mr. Vengeance. They called him throughout the movie, which was awesome.
That's what she calls him throughout the movie. Yeah. Which, by the way, we didn't say this spoiler free. She was awesome.
She was great.
Absolutely,
yes. She was really
awesome.
Good. And she was one of my skeptical castings.
Really?
Initially. Well, because I don't know her. I'm not familiar with her from anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how she was going to do, but she did great.
She's fantastic. Yeah.
Really good. Yeah, really good.
I mean, she was actually.
I heard a lot of people. Complaining that she had the the torn ski mask thing. I heard people complaining.
She's not even Catwoman yet, though.
Well, that was my response. Is she's not Catwoman. She wasn't trying to be anybody. She was just trying to keep people from recognizing her.
Right.
She never put on that suit and said, "I'm Catwoman." Now there was a reference to the bat and the cat towards the end of the movie. But
yeah, she made it.
But at no point in that movie did anybody refer to her as Catwoman. And so the fact that she didn't have this mask on didn't bother me at all. But I had a couple people come into the store and complain about that. And I was like, you just didn't get it then because she wasn't trying to be anybody,
Right. She was just, that's what she did. And she's going to obviously, I think that comment about the bat and the cat was about as much about, a nod to the bat and the cat stories that we know as it was to her, hey, I could be a Catwoman, she's coming into her own.
But he kept commenting, hey, you have a lot of cats,
exactly.
Things like that. So,
right.
She was calling him Mr. Vengeance and this, and he was kind of calling her the cat lady, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I
vengeance.
still don't think it was.
That's what she kept saying. It was so cool.
Even at the end of the movie, I didn't get the sense that she was going to just go out and be Catwoman. You know what I mean? She kind of did what she did, and she was going to go on. So,
but
I thought she was really good
when she kicked that guy off the roof, and then Batman ends up saving her. So they're giving you that flavor that Catwoman's not a hero. Catwoman's a villain that is
right.
you
She
know,
always has been.
yeah. And I thought they did a good job of bringing that. Like, they didn't make her that much of a villain yet, but you knew, like, look, she has a different, motives than Batman.
Right.
Let's get into that.
She's not like the cold-blooded killer, say like the Joker or the Riddler. Like even in the comics, like she's a thief. She's
Right.
never been like necessarily like a killer, but
No.
I think that she doesn't necessarily hold the same regard for life as Bruce does.
Right.
So.
So, well, let's get to some of the negative, and then we'll go to all positive, even including how this ties into comics and all the comics it ties into. But what's your biggest negative?
My biggest negative is Bruce. Is him. It's Bruce Wayne. We've already had this conversation, so I know where you're going to go with the conversation.
Okay, so you should be well prepped.
Yeah, but I just think he's a douche. Like he is a bad guy.
Okay,
not like a bad guy in the sense that he's like killing people or whatever, but like he's yelling at the help. He's just like not a good dude.
So
I just don't think I didn't like the look of him. Like I said, the hair and the emo thing. Like he's a guy that hasn't figured out the importance of Bruce Wayne yet.
Right.
In his.
Do you not see that that's
Batman.
The point of the movie?
I get what I do because again we've had this conversation and
we need to have it for the listeners.
The thing is I believe that he has changed at the end of this movie and will be a different Bruce Wayne. But the fact that he was just so sullen and mean was just like, I don't know. I didn't like it. I just didn't like it at all.
Can I give, this is something I didn't say to you the other day. Can I give you and I just thought of this now, because I've always said, and I did say this to you the other day, one of the reasons I don't think he's an emo is because to me, that emo means you're the person 24/7, 365 days a year, you walk around like that. Like that's just your overall attitude, right? This movie takes place over like a week. And it's just a snippet in time of this one person. And like to the point that you don't like his hair, the only time it was down in front of his eyes, which I didn't like it either going into this, because you saw it in the trailer and you're like, oh, that's not what Bruce Wayne looks like. It was after he got back to the cave and he took the cowl off the top of his head and his hair was messed up. But when he went out, he went out, what, 3 times, I think, in public as Bruce Wayne?
He went to the funeral.
Funeral,
right? He went to the
visit
funeral.
Alfred, and to see Falcone.
Right.
And all 3 times, his hair was fine. It was combed across the top of his head. He was presentable. And he was, obviously, at a funeral, you're not going to be party boy. Visiting Alfred, he's literally visiting Alfred, and he's depressed because he's got bad information that he got from Falcone about what Alfred had been lying to. So, you know what I mean? His attitude is going to be that, quote, emo attitude. But it's that, like, my definition of emo isn't just like, that'd be like saying I'm emo because I'm in a bad mood one day. It's just, I just think he was in a bad mood.
That's all we know. Like, that's what we know of him.
Okay.
So that's what we have to go on.
Right.
Like, we don't have anything else to go by.
But it's a movie that takes place in like a week in time. Now, let's go. This is what I didn't say to you the other day. Remember in Batman Begins when Bruce Wayne was going to kill he had the gun and he was going to kill, the guy that killed his parents?
Yeah.
That's the same attitude that this entire movie is about. Right? That was a snippet in Batman Begins. This movie takes place in that time frame for Bruce Wayne. And that's what I liked about it, because in Batman Begins, we never get to really see the evolution of him learning. because the time frame is so spread out. It takes, like, Batman Begins takes place over 7 years. He leaves and comes back 7 years later. This one here, it's 1 week, pretty much, I'm guessing at a week in time. And he goes from being vengeance to realizing he's done, his focus has been so bad, and he has been this brooding character. He's not paying attention to the Wayne legacy. He's not paying attention to the, I keep forgetting the name of the fund, the renewal fund.
The renewal fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a part of the story. And that's what I think, that's why, like, that's a huge part of the story. And to have people like, oh, I didn't like that part. That is the story. No?
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I don't like it. Like, I just don't like it. I just didn't like it. Like, I just didn't like his attitude with Alfred throughout the whole thing. Even in the hospital, it's like, hey, how you doing, man? By the way, you lied to, like, the very first thing he says to him when he opens his eyes is to start yelling at the help again. Like,
well, because he's
a bad
upset.
Look, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's upset, though.
Yeah, but still, this guy raised you and almost died. Like, at least, you know, spare him a courtesy before you start yelling at him again.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't think he yelled at him. But yeah, no, I mean, he's upset, and then he got his answers. I loved that scene. I loved the way he acted that scene out. I love the look on his face that he was like, he was tormented because, I don't know, like, the look on his face was like, of course I have to listen to Alfred. He raised me, and what I was fooled by Falcone, the information that he got, all of that stuff. Was it Falcone that told him that? Yeah.
Falcone, yeah.
Yeah.
Falcone told him that his dad killed the guy or whatever.
Right. And it's, I mean, I loved all of that stuff. And I think we're going to get, in the next movie, we'll get the Batman, the Bruce Wayne that you're looking for.
And that's the
because
thing
he should be evolved to that.
Well, and that's what I said to you the other day. If we get a different Bruce in the next movie, then okay, the journey was the journey and it's all worth it, right? But if he comes out the same, then he's just a douche. You know what I mean? Like, he's a bad dude, you know, and we don't know because we don't have the next chapter yet. So we're both just speculating on what we think happened at the end of this movie, you know?
Well, no, we're thinking what's going to happen. I'm not speculating what in the did happen. I know what happened in this one. I like it. Yeah.
Well, no, but we're saying we're speculating that he had this big change of character at the end of the movie.
Well, he did. That was. But
we haven't
legit.
seen it.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it play out yet. You know, he had a change of character as how he needs to be Batman, not necessarily about how he needs to be Bruce. We still don't know that yet because we haven't seen the next chapter.
Right.
He knows he has to be a different Batman.
Well, here's where I would use the history of Batman to think that the next movie chapter in this is going to be as accurate as this chapter was. This movie references everything in it was like pulled from comics. And it's all loyal to the comic of Batman. So it's like, I was talking to Martin. Martin referenced like the woman that was helping Alfred's help. He's like, that comes from a comic in like 1972. And Martin was telling me, like, talking with people that know more about Batman, like yourself, that know more about Batman than I do, are like, oh, this here was a reference to this. This was a reference to that. Venom. We had the Venom at the end. We have all of these things.
Right. That's a Bane reference.
Yeah. Well, he used it too. There's a whole Venom storyline, which I didn't necessarily know at the time, but now I do. And you're like, holy crap. You're like, all of this stuff. I have yet to find something in this that wasn't a reference to a comic. So why wouldn't they continue that going forward? You know? Did you know this part? Martin told me this, and then I saw it on YouTube. I actually grabbed the tweet. Matt Reeves, he tweeted out a while ago. I think it was 2018. He tweeted, fun fact, Jeff Loeb was his professor in college.
Oh, really?
Yes. His screenwriting professor in college.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. What I really like about this is like, I cannot wait to get this disc. I cannot wait to watch this at home and go through it because there's so many Easter eggs in this movie that it's so faithful to the comic to me. And that's why I have such faith in like, movie 2 that we'll get the Batman that you and I are wanting. And I know this is a positive. We both love the fact that we finally get a detective story. A legit detective story, right? Not like, I mean, I guess The Dark Knight Returns was kind of a detective story, the movie.
Yeah, but this was
real.
Again, this was noir. Like this was Seven or Zodiac or one of those.
Yes.
Like that. Like I've said this a couple of times. I don't know if I said this to you or not, but this could have been anything. It didn't have to be Batman.
Right.
Like it could have just been Brad Pitt, out there as a cop. So like, and that's what I did like, that it was very, grounded, and, everybody praised the Nolan movies for being, realistic and grounded. And this was the same. Like there's no like Superman flying around or there's no anything else. Like this is just like
even
at the heart of it. It was
even
a
the
cop,
squirrel
it was
suit.
a cop movie.
That's what Martin said. I was talking to me. He's like, how everybody I've talked to has been like, it's so grounded. It's so like realistic. I know it's Batman, but it's realistic. And like what Martin was saying is like when he jumped and he didn't open up and have bat wings. He had a real life squirrel suit. That's what it would look like if somebody did that. Right. And that's what he had. And and I even like when he could take off his costume or put on some sweatpants over it and just get on a motorcycle, so he was mobile and I loved all of that. That's the realism and the real, how well grounded it was, but yet still pulling from the Batman universe.
Right.
But like you said, it references Long Halloween, obviously. I mean, it starts on Halloween, so that's dead on. But then, like I said, this take place over like a week's time, where the Long Halloween took over a year, and the killings were all on a like holiday, right?
Right. This was more, one, other than that, it started on Halloween. It didn't really follow it didn't pull from the Long Halloween very much.
Well, it was killers. The killer was killing the mob people, just like in Long Halloween, right? But you also have references to Hush. Which Matt Reeves, I saw a tweet today or yesterday, actually wants to bring Hush in one of the next movies, because he really likes that character. So that one, that'll be awesome. I love both those books are awesome, right?
Yes, they are. They're classic Batman stories,
right? And I thought, using them in here, it just made it. That detective story from begin. That's what the other part that makes it so much better. Like I said, I haven't seen it a second time yet. Martin's seen it 3 times now. And other people I've seen online and talked to, that like multiple viewings makes it even better, because you see stuff at the beginning that, oh, hey, what does this mean? What does that mean? That now you know what it means. So, well, let's get what else didn't you like? You want to get into the costume part you didn't like?
Well, I mentioned that earlier. I didn't like the collar of the cape.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It just struck me wrong every time I saw it. Like I think I said to you, like from the back, from like walking away or something, it looked like he was like the Fonz with his leather jacket and like his collar raised up. I get it, like as far as the mobility factor and like the choice of why it would be like that, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like it. Like that to me that doesn't ruin the movie for me though. Like I don't say that in the sense that this was like a negative for me, but it was just visually I didn't like it. The rest of the suit was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I thought he looked great. I really liked the cowl, like being more like molded to his head. It felt like the most realistic one we've seen so far. I really liked that, and I liked the rest of the suit. I loved the armor. I loved when he took like the emblem off, and it was like a functional tool.
Right.
I thought was really cool. So the overall look I thought was great, and I thought he looked great as Batman. I just didn't like the cape for some reason. Like it just really bugged me, you know.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. It's I understand. I can't say I agree with you, but I know what you're saying about that collar. It looks weird because it usually goes right into the cowl.
Yeah,
right. And we're not used to that, but it didn't really bother me at all. But in the rest of the suit, I was actually very pleasantly surprised because all the stills you get, whenever you get those stills, you're like, they don't look good. Yeah, that's awful. But then seeing it in real life, seeing it on the screen, it looked great. The utility belt and all the different, like he had different size pieces and stuff. I thought that was very realistic. Like, all right, this is all the crap I got to lug around, because he kept pulling from it. I mean, that's, he got the venom from there, has a little, the little premeditated opening in his suit to jab this into him. There's actually part of his suit to allow this stuff to get through. And Joe had a good point. He's like, well, yeah, if you have a bulletproof material, you're going to need something to get a needle through,
you can't just jab a needle through.
Right. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Good point. So.
See, I didn't even notice. I didn't catch that at all. I didn't pick up on that when I saw it.
Well, see, that was huge to me when that showed up. Yeah. And I'm like, I think that is going to be something that moves forward, that, gives the next movie, or they could even extend it into the third movie or whatever. But the whole Venom and the addiction, which he ends up, Batman, there was a storyline, that's the Venom storyline, where he gets addicted to steroids, and so do they use that in a dark way to keep that dark flavor? Like now he has this, he's going to be a better Bruce Wayne, I think, but he's got issues, and he's got, he's pushing too hard. And how does he, I mean, that could be a really good, that could be a powerful movie on a couple of levels, not just a Batman level, but the whole, an idea of substance abuse and stuff like that. Are they going to go in that direction? It's a possibility. I don't know. That's obviously, it's all speculation, but the possibilities I think are great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, what else? Colin Farrell.
Unrecognizable.
Yes.
Like I literally can't pull his face out of that if I try.
I know.
It was great.
Yeah, you can barely, he barely sounds like himself either.
Yeah.
I don't, it's like,
it's completely transformed into the Penguin, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I really, again, was very skeptical about a Penguin show on HBO Max. Yeah. Now I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
Like now I'm really looking forward to it. He was fantastic.
All that makeup he has to go through, I don't think he's looking forward to it.
No, probably not. But I like the Penguin character in this movie. Like he hasn't quite risen to being the Penguin yet.
Early on,
which is, we kind of saw that in Gotham as well. He's very much like an underling to Maroni and Falcone and those guys in this movie. He has the club where everybody meets and, kind of does their business, but he's just an underling. But, by the end of this movie, now he's poised to take over as like quote unquote kingpin of the underworld and Gotham. And so I think through the show, we'll see that rise, which will be interesting to see that without Batman being a part of it. Because you would think that he would not let this all go unnoticed. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the rise of the underworld, so he's probably going to be very low key. So be off of Batman's radar. I'm sure we won't get maybe we'll get an appearance of Batman, but I think we're going to get a lot more of comments in the show about Batman.
There'll be references. Yeah, there'll be a lot of
references, a lot of bat signals in the air.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool too. The bat signal not being on top of the police station. It's actually
Yeah,
just somewhere
which took
else
me a
in
little
the
bit
city.
to figure that out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at first. It wasn't
Yeah.
until the scene where he was breaking out of the police station.
Yeah.
And then he shows up on the, with the bat signal. And I was like, he just broke out of this building. What's he doing on the roof?
Yeah.
And then I realized that it was a different building.
How about
I really liked also that this was the first time we've really seen him like working with the cops,
Yes.
even though it was mostly just Jim, mostly just Gordon. The other ones didn't really want, but he was there at the crime scenes. He was like a presence in the investigations. And I thought that was cool.
It was super cool.
Big throwback to 66 Batman, where he was like the cops couldn't make a move without calling Batman.
Right.
But, in this one, at least for Gordon, like they brought him in and he was part of the process, which I thought was really cool.
I like that.
We haven't seen that.
Yeah. What I really liked about it, especially, it was in one of the first scenes in the movie when Gordon's bringing him into the crime scene and the presentation of Batman, right?
Yeah.
It literally, just that, the way they filmed that, the way they brought him in and he's walking through the crowd. And like you said, in all other movies, Batman was like behind the scenes. And it was like maybe he interacted with one other police person other than Gordon himself, right?
Right.
But here he walks into the room and the room is packed with people. And like you said, some of the people were like, oh, what's he doing here? But then, but they kept focusing all on these people in the back of the room and everybody, and their eyes going, like he's here. Like he's larger than life. And like I said to you the other day, it's like if Tom Brady walked in the room, and that's what it would be like if a superhero literally walked in the room. And normally in our comics, what do we get? We get like Superman flies in, saves a person, and takes off. So you don't get that, like, here he comes. When Superman does walk in the room, like you get when he walks into in Congress when the room blows up.
Right.
But it was cool when he walked in. This felt like Batman when he walked in that crime scene. He felt even larger. Just the way they shot it and presented him, and how everybody just like the hush went over the crowd. And we referenced Hush.
Well, and then you see him, like they resent him being there, but then
they
notice. But then they notice that he's noticing things that they hadn't.
Yes.
Like the blood on the floor. So then they follow him over. And it was kind of like, I don't want you here, but, I didn't see that. You saw that.
Right.
Yeah. So there's that little bit of respect there too, even though.
But it's also showing off Batman's brains, his observational skills, his detective ability, which we did talk about this the other day, but in The Long Halloween, they make Batman out to be not so bright at times in the comic, right? In the series. In this one, I don't think that I thought they did a really good job of making him seem smart. It wasn't a super easy case to solve. So he did get, go in the wrong direction a couple of times, but it wasn't like he made stupid mistakes. He just made normal, like, all right, I was led this way instead of this way. I thought it was very, very well done. And like you said, at the beginning, when he's noticing stuff, I like that he only spoke if he really felt they needed the information, but that's how Batman is. Very reserved, didn't say much to people, very quiet. And when he did speak, he just like, yep, all right. And then everybody went, oh, what did he notice there? Like, I can't even think of what they were, but that's like you said. I mean, we both agree it was a great Batman.
Yes, he was.
As far as Batman goes, how would you rank this Batman? Just the character of Batman. Obviously not Bruce Wayne. We know you don't like that one.
I mean, again, probably the smartest and most detective-y Batman we've had so far.
Yep.
Like, what else do you judge him on? Like, there weren't as many like fight scenes or things like that to compare.
Oh, they had
wasn't
great
as many
fight scenes though. When he went into the
great
bar,
fight scenes,
but
when
he went into that club and he had to fight his way down like the scaffold.
But I think the Affleck
I'm doing the moves.
Batman had better like fight scenes and things like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, there's pieces of different ones that I think are better here and there. Like, again, I think Affleck's Bruce Wayne was spot on. Like, I thought he was great.
But that's also an established Batman. That's why an established Bruce Wayne. I'm sorry, he was a later in life, much later in life Bruce Wayne. Christian Bale ran the gambit pretty much.
He did, and the thing is, as much as we praised those movies when they first came out, they don't age as well. Like, his voice now grates on me. Like, I can't stand it. I really dislike it. I'm at the point where I don't like it at all, and so that now colors my opinion of his.
You
Batman,
don't like it when he talks like this?
No, not at all.
Stop doing it, DJ.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I think he's up there. Like, he was a good Batman. Like, he's a really good Batman.
Everything you said when I first asked you, and what you said, the detective and this and that, that's why he's my favorite Batman. Because it was the Batman that got to be the detective and got to be the smartest one. Not that the other ones weren't smart. I just don't think they were written. Those Batman weren't. It was a different movie. They weren't written that way. So I didn't want to say they weren't written as well. It was written with a different purpose. But this one here is the quintessential
of the Nolan movies.
Batman. Yeah.
There were pieces of the Nolan movies where they did they did try to play up his intelligence a little bit, but it was like in and out. Like, it wasn't consistently through the whole.
It was also tech dependent too. Remember, like he knew, like, oh, I have some tech, so I can pull that print out of the wall.
Right.
But that wasn't like problem solving.
His smart, right. It wasn't his intelligence.
It wasn't like his getting the whole entire, movies about catching the Riddler, right? So you had to answer the riddles, and they, some of them, they weren't super difficult, but they were still like, he knew the answer. Like, everybody in the room's like, huh? And he's just like he's almost answering like, what are you guys, stupid? like he knew everything.
Like, the other thing too is that they don't come out and say this directly, but there's no Lucius Fox in this movie. No. So there was nobody that made his Batmobile they never quite say, but they never said he did it necessarily straight out. But they imply that he he made all his own stuff, maybe with Alfred, because there's no Lucius Fox there. There was no Wayne Tech that he was getting his armor from or his Batmobile from. Or, like, his motorcycle was just a regular old street motorcycle.
Right.
There wasn't anything special about it at all. But, like, you get the sense that he built his own equipment and everything he
Batman.
used.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, there was nobody doing it for him.
Yeah.
There was no Tony Stark giving him all his armor and all that stuff.
He hasn't evolved to that point yet.
Right.
And that...
But that's why it also felt a little more grounded, because it was like homegrown. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was no big super tech that he was using. I mean, although the contact lenses were pretty high tech, I guess, because we don't have those.
No.
But you get the sense that he just bought those somewhere. Like, he didn't make those himself.
Yeah. That was, that's just giving, but that's the thing, is that was the techie part. And it wasn't a huge part of the movie. I liked how they used it, and like he used it with, Selena, but, before it escapes my mind, Alfred. I love that I love that Alfred has the scars on his face. He looks weathered. He looks like,
and he also says, I taught you how to fight.
That's what I was just going to say. So I love that part. And it's like, that's where Batman got his first, I mean, he takes it to another level after the fact, but that's where he got his foundation for this.
But this is the version of Alfred that was part of like the British Army and all that stuff.
Yes.
That we get. Like, none of the other Alfreds in the movies have been that guy.
No.
We've seen that in the comics.
Right.
But this was the first time in one of the movies you get the sense that, he wasn't the greatest butler in the world, you know what I mean? But he was the guy that trained him and raised him, and,
Right.
That was cool.
Well, I'm wondering do we get flashbacks in coming movies? Because, like, you see this brooding, angry Bruce, and you got to imagine when he was younger, did Alfred teach him these things as an outlet for his pain, because that's what this is all about. It's like he just like this movie here. That's what Batman is about. His parents are killed, and how does he reconcile that in his own mind? How does he handle that? And this is what, Bruce Wayne, the character since, the 30s, this is what this story has been about. And that's why I love this as a first chapter. As a movie unto itself, I love it anyways. But now think of did Alfred train him as an outlet for this pain and and then it becomes Batman. And then there's so many things that they could do with this.
Right.
Just off of this one story. And that's why I like it so much. And speaking of which, I haven't mentioned this. 2 seasons Pennyworth is on HBO Max.
I do know that. I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Yeah. I know I started that. I did 4 episodes, but that was back when it was on whatever else it was on.
Epics. Yeah, I never watched it because I didn't want to subscribe to that.
Yeah,
so,
it's adult,
it's on my
it's good.
It's on my list of sometime to get to it, but
yeah, the story to this is so rich in and like you said, it could be about anything else. The story is great, but if you're a Batman fan at any level, you're just the bigger Batman fan you are, I think you're just gonna pull more out of it. That's what it cracks me up. The people they're huge Batman fans that we know and we've heard, and you're like, how do they not like this? There's so much stuff in here. But let's before we get to your I'll bring up that afterwards. Why do you think this could have been shorter? Because I was riveted.
I really think the movie could have ended with him capturing the Riddler and putting him in Arkham. When he goes to Arkham, that could have been the end of the movie. Yep. You know what I mean?
Almost like everything after that's like an epilogue, right?
And that's where, to me, it becomes less grounded. The last 30 minutes of it are more spectacle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's big and it's action and it's all this. Whereas, if it would have just ended with him kind of locking him up a la 7 or something like that, it was it was the ending, and it felt more grounded. Once you start flooding the city and blowing things up, it becomes more spectacle. And not that I didn't enjoy that. I enjoyed that part of the movie. Yeah. But I thought we were done. I thought that was the end of the movie.
I had to pee.
And well, I did, but you know what I mean? And I thought that was a satisfying place to end. So they could have left it there and we wouldn't have missed anything. We wouldn't have felt like we were cheated out of anything because we didn't know about the rest of the plan. We weren't privy to that as viewers ahead of time, so we weren't waiting for that to happen.
But we also didn't get the evolution yet either of,
Well, we didn't. We would have missed that. We would have missed that part at the end. But I'm just saying, if it ended there and you walked out of it, you wouldn't have thought it was a lesser movie. You wouldn't have felt like you missed anything. So
I see what you're saying. I actually can agree with you a little bit but now knowing what we did get, I feel like if you told me after the fact, I'd be like, oh my God, it comes full circle. We bookended the movie with I Am Vengeance. And that is, I guess if you were really going to critique it, you'd be like, well, that's a little on the nose, but I loved it. But at the same time, it's I see what you're saying, that it almost feels like after he catches Riddler, it feels almost like an epilogue where or end credit.
It was the third epilogue at the end of Return of the King, when Sam finally goes back and It was and we just kept getting epilogue after epilogue after epilogue.
Right.
But you were fine when the movie just ended in the theatrical cut. You know what I mean? So not that any of that was bad.
Right.
And again, who's complaining about getting more movie?
More
good
I'm not movie, though.
I'm certainly not complaining about it, but I felt like when I watched it, that was the end of the movie. And so if that's the way I felt, well, then I guess I would have been happy if that was the end of the movie.
Right.
Getting more is just kind of a bonus. Maybe that was the extras on the Blu-ray, the director's cut.
And we caught him in the theater.
And we got him in the theater, So,
yeah, that's why I'm like, I see what you're saying, but I loved it the way it played out. I love the book ending of I Am Vengeance, the evolution of Bruce Wayne, which I think Batman's persona wouldn't change, but Bruce Wayne is going to be a more active member the mayor actually spelled it out for him. Like you don't do the same things your parents did. You're not doing for the city what they did.
Right.
And when I first heard that in the movie, I'm like, yeah, you don't know what he's doing for the city because you don't know him as Batman. Right.
Right.
And it's like, and I actually
but he's
was
still
like,
not, because that's always been the old adage, right? Like Batman could do so much more good with his money than he ever does as Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the way people look at it, like
Right.
how many programs could you put in place with your billions as opposed to running around punching dudes?
Well, yeah.
So,
but yeah, that's the thing. And I think that's the evolution. That's why we needed that second part of the movie to make it get us into the next movie, which, that's what when are we getting that in like 3 years?
yeah,
Probably.
I don't know. I don't even know if they started filming it yet or writing it.
No, I don't think I haven't heard anything. Batmobile. You touched on that earlier with like he built it.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good.
I was surprised. I was surprised
again,
how much I liked
grounded,
it. Yeah,
the most grounded one we've gotten so far.
Grounded, but still had the jet
like,
engine in the back.
Yeah, and then
but
cool. I was kind of like when it first showed up, I was like, how did that get there? Like, was it just parked there?
Yeah,
because he didn't drive there in it because Gordon had no idea there was this car. You know, it was just there, just parked there.
Yeah,
which I was thought was kind of weird, but yeah, I liked it. I actually thought it was cool.
Sounded awesome. I cannot wait to hear that thing in my theater.
Yeah,
that was. I was very surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it. I know from the commercials, I was like, looks like an old Camaro that he just hyped out. And I'm like, what's the big deal?
But again, going back to, he probably did that himself.
Right.
Like it was probably it was a car that he modified as opposed to like a tank that Wayne Tech built for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Last thing I have, doesn't mean we're done, but last thing I have was cinematography for this. I felt was awesome because I feel like all the way through the movie, I felt like they were shots, frames out of the comic books.
Right.
Like Batman and Selina on the roof. And I feel like I've seen, like so many times in this movie, I was like, I've seen that. And to capture that, to capture these stills from comics and put them into the movie to me was like masterful. Because like, you know what I mean? It's not a still in the movie. They actually had to put these scenes in there. I don't know if they purposefully did it, but it just felt like as the movie played out, I kept seeing stuff that I've seen before in comics. And the color grade, the tones of the scenes, the shadow, the everything, the Batman, when they were on the rooftop, for instance, and Batman and Selina, and Batman's got his knee out in front of him bent like you would in a comic, but it looks completely unnatural in real life. Right. Like, why is his foot like that? But it felt so right here. And like the size difference between Batman and Selina, and it's like, I thought they did maybe, I didn't think they were that far apart in real life.
Yeah, and I don't know if they are. I don't know how tall she is, but
Robert Pattinson's 6'1", she's 5'1", so they are
so
that.
There is a foot different. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking to Martin, and while I was talking to him, he looked it up, and he's like, "Yep, they're a foot apart." I thought they did like the optical illusion thing, like they put her further away just for the scene. And but no, they're literally that far apart. And I mean, Batman's supposed to be 6'2", roughly, right? And so he's 6'1", so that you're accurate to that.
Right.
And she was so little, like the way they draw her in the comics, it's like she just looked so much like her. And I just thought
no, they did
a
great job. Yeah, it was shot. It's hard to say like it was shot beautifully because this was like the bleakest version of Gotham we've ever seen. Like it was such a, you could get Captain America out, I guess, but it was such a
Language.
shithole. I mean, it was so bad, you know. I mean, it's the worst Gotham we've ever seen. So you can't really say it was like beautifully shot.
Right, right.
Yes, but the cinematography and the scenes, everything was great. So
yeah. So I mean, I can't wait to see it again.
Because I kept thinking, like, who wants to live here? Like,
well, that's always Gotham, right?
I know, but this was like the worst Gotham we've ever seen.
Even Batman '89, that Gotham, you were like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until we got to.
But it felt like a character here. Like Gotham felt like a character in the movie.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
It was so.
I think Tim Burton said that back in '89 that he wanted Gotham to be a character to the movie.
Well, and it was in that movie. It was in that movie too. Yeah. But it felt more futuristic and a little stylized in his movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here it was just like
grounded
a slum. Like the entire city was a slum. you know? So
Joe was funny. He was like he pulled a John when the city started to flood. And everybody's running to what would be Madison Square Garden. They're running to
Gotham Square
Garden. And he goes, he goes at one point, they're all inside there and they pull back at the end, right? And they're all inside at Gotham Square Garden.
The garden.
And he goes, why, when the city was flooding, did everybody run out of the high-rise towers to run to the lowest place, gather at the lowest place in the city? He goes, they pull back, and he goes, the only thing that would have been affected would have been the first floor on all these high-rise towers. Just stay in the damn building. You would have been fine. I thought it was so funny. I'm like, I didn't even think of it. I didn't care. Because there was a message to be sent there, but the little boy, does he become a Robin? I asked you that the other day.
Yeah, I'll say somebody said that. I guess it was you. Somebody said that to me the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Good.
That's true. Oh, and we did talk about this.
He was unnamed, right? We didn't get his name, so.
The kid at the beginning, one of the gang members with the half-painted face.
We talked about this, yeah.
And, he is Tim Drake in Titans Season 3. Seen that. Yeah. But I sent you the picture. Is that half-painted face a nod to Prince? And
yeah, I don't know.
It's with everything else in this movie, I find it very hard to believe that that's a coincidence and an accident. Like, oh, geez, I didn't know that. Right. It's like I could totally picture him, the actor, saying, I want to do this for Prince. Or I could see Matt Reeves saying, like, hey, Prince in Bat Dance had half a face. He was Joker on one side. He was supposed to, I guess, Batman on the other. I don't know.
Right.
But he had half the face, and now the one character here has half a painted face.
I just kind of attributed it to he wasn't fully initiated yet.
So did I. Did I. Absolutely. But then once you see Prince, you're like, wait a minute. It's the same side of the face.
Right.
You know, which, again, that's just more things that are pulling from stuff, Batman lore, you know. Right. And, I mean, to go all the way to a Prince video, which I guess we'll find out someday. I mean, if I'm Matt Reeves and somebody asks me that and I didn't intend it, do you think I'm saying it? I'm going to say I intended it, right? You're not going to be like, oh, no, you're an idiot. No. Oh, yeah. Everything in there means something with that.
Of course I meant that.
Of course I meant that. So it's going to be tough to fake. I mean, you can always say, he's lying. But I think I think it was purposeful with everything else in the movie. So, all right. That's all I got. I got so much more if we want to keep going, but what do you got? Anything else?
No, I mean, nothing else really.
All right. It's been a long
Go see it. Like I said, I liked it.
Go see it. At the end of our spoilers, hopefully everybody listening has.
We always focus on the things that I didn't like about things, but I did like the movie, you know?
Oh, so, I know. I thought you didn't love it like I did.
No.
But you're also a bigger Batman fan, so you found more flaws with your favorite character.
Oh, I didn't like because I just remembered that I brought this up to you the other day. I didn't like the change with Selina being Falcone's daughter. Like, that bugged me.
She was in the books, though, at one point.
No, she wasn't.
Yes, she was.
Well, not. I don't remember that.
Yeah, she was.
I don't remember her being.
It was
his
funny.
daughter.
It's so funny when you said it the other day. I didn't want to say anything about it because I wasn't 100% sure. But then I asked Martin. I was like, "Is she?" And she is. She has been Falcone's daughter in the past in the books. She is Falcone's daughter.
I'll have to look. I didn't.
And that's one of those things that I'm
wrong,
like, if
but
it's
I
in
don't
there,
know.
it's gonna be. That's one of those things is when you see something in this movie and you say that that's not true. There's got to be something. They're pulling from something. I don't think there's anything in this movie that they made up that wasn't part of Batman lore in one way or another. We might not know what it was, but somebody does. She was, I had seen it after we talked. I was like, no, I swear I knew that she was Falcone's daughter, but I didn't know if it was because I saw it in Gotham. Did I read it a while ago? But then I did see it online that, yeah, she was Falcone's daughter in a certain storyline.
Yeah, see that. It says that here.
Yeah. Martin knew it right off the top of his head. He's like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. He knew everything. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm wrong because I didn't know that, though. I never appeared, never
So, see,
realized
it
that.
just went up a notch. Next, you're going to find out the Cape had a collar somewhere in the comics, too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some early comic.
They say second secret daughter to Carmine and Louisa, Selena Kyle. Okay.
See?
Okay. Well, I'm wrong there. I didn't know that. But,
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't bug me as much.
All right. On that note, on that happy note, it just went up a notch in John's book.
That's right.
There you go.
Went up a peg.
Went up a peg. Almost to the top. All right.
Yeah.
That'll do it for this week. We'll be back next week. I don't know if we'll have Kryptonite next week, but nothing big coming out, right? Next show.
No, I mean, I don't
no
I
new
don't know what we
shows.
would talk
I think
about.
Halo's the
No.
next show, right?
Right.
Halo drop. It won't be before next week's show.
No, I think it drops like next Thursday or something.
Yeah.
Or Wednesday, something like that.
I think Paramount dropped.
We'll have
on
another
Thursdays.
Picard.
Yeah,
Well, we'll have two Picards. No, one more.
No,
before
one more.
next week.
One more on Thursday.
Yeah.
So yeah, only one Thursday this week, John.
I know. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah, but I think don't we set the clocks ahead on Saturday?
This Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Saturday night.
Saturday night, Sunday morning. So we're setting the clocks ahead, everybody. Short week. We'll be back before you know it.
There you go.